In this video, you're going to be learning how to recover from the worst downswing of your poker career. For those of you new to my channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Now, today's question was brought forward by Tamas, who is a long-time subscriber of my channel. And he said to me, recently, I experienced one of the worst downswings of my career. Past few weeks have been great, but the last few days I've ran bad. The thought that I may experience a downswing again really cripples me, and I can't put in volume as a consequence. So we can see the worst downswing of Tamas's career has left some scar tissue. It's really getting him fearful of the future and what could come next. So to solve this problem, to get him able to put more volume and not be crippled by the fear, we're going to approach it from two angles. There's two steps that you need to take. Both are absolutely crucial. So the first one, we need to come to terms with the recent downswing. So it sounds like this downswing you've had has really had a negative impact. It's really felt like the end of the world to some degree. So what I want you to do, if you've had a worst downswing, anyone watching along who's suffering a really bad downswing recently, or they want to come to terms better with the worst downswing of their career, think back to that downswing. Think back and write down or think about, what was the worst thing about it? What was the worst thing about the downswing? Was it losing the money? Was it the feeling of self-worth, your attachment to poker, and you feeling like you weren't good enough anymore? Was it that your friends or families were right about poker not working out? Was it that it put your family or yourself under financial strains? What was it? What was the worst thing about it? And then magnify it. Magnify it and blow it up even further. So once you've got the main cause of concern from the downswing, blow it up. Make it even bigger. And I'll tell you why we're doing this in a second. So imagine the whole universe stopped because of your downswing. Life as you know it will never, ever be the same again. Your life is ruined. It will never go on. That downswing took away everything. Your family and friends will never look at you the same way again. Nobody will ever be able to respect you as a poker player, as a person. The downswing was so brutal. Magnify it, bring it down. So if it wasn't a level 7 out of 10, bring it to like a 10 out of 10. Okay, I want to really magnify it. And the reason you do this is you take conscious control of the emotion. So sometimes like, oh, it makes you feel bad. If you magnify it and make it worse, you're now consciously taking control. And this really helps you to play around with the emotion. That's what we're going to do. We're going to play around with your response and understand that you can actually change the way you deal with this downswing and the way you look at it. So once you've done that, you've magnified it and made it almost like laughable how big of a deal you've made it. Bring it back down to where it was. Bring it back down to its normal neutral state. And yeah, okay, I feel bad about it. Now, I want you to flip it on its head. And I want you to tell me 3 positive things that you can take from the downswing. 3 positive things that came from it. Maybe you learned that, okay, I can work hard even when I'm on a downswing. Maybe you learned that, okay, I need to study harder because I'm not as good as I thought I was to beat these games. Maybe it just pointed you in a direction of something to improve on. So write 3 things that you've improved from. Then an even more powerful question is, in what way has this downswing been a benefit? In what way has this downswing been an absolute benefit? And it's often, I think Tony Robbins has got a question similar to this, where he basically goes, pick the worst moment of your life or biggest like heartache moments and think, how was that a positive? How was that like, it was not only like a benefit, but it was needed. That was needed. And if I look back on my career, a lot of my downswings, which at the time were brutal, I needed them. I need them to grow up. I need them to get more resilience. I need them to push me to study and work harder. So what is the benefit that you've got from the downswing? So from this process, you've went low, neutral, and low, neutral, high in terms of how you feel about it. And then you can understand, okay, will life go on if there's downswing? Am I okay? Did I have to sell the house? Is the family okay? Is everything okay? I want you to get comfortable that this downswing happens, because right now it's become this big scar tissue event that's uncomfortable to even think about. You're like, oh, downswing, I'd rather it never happen again. Please don't ever happen again. So we need to get it out and realize, okay, even in the hard times, there's some positives. And you know what? It's not this big scary thing. It's just a downswing. It happens, okay? So step 1, come into terms with the recent downswing. And I want you to work on this. Maybe you have to write stuff down, really think on it, journal on it until the way you look at that situation isn't so negative. So you want to turn that negative memory into a slightly more positive angle, or at least a neutral angle. Once you've got that done, the next thing I want you to do is accept that the downswing, or even worse, could happen again. You weren't expecting that one, were you? You're wanting the positive psychology. You're wanting things are going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just put the volume in. No, you've got to be a hyper realist about the negative as well. So first off, before you go pushing on again, remind yourself, okay, things could go worse. And what I want you to do is I want you to use a negative visualization, and I want you to imagine the downswing of his head, and I want you to times it by 5, times it by 10. How bad could it get? Would you have to move down stakes? Would you have to sell your house? Would you go completely bankrupt? Just imagine it. Hopefully the answer to those big questions is no. If the answer is yes, you're probably using really bad bankroll management and playing too high stakes. But just think about it going worse. Just think about the worst case it could go as a downswing. How would it affect you? You'd feel like so much, like your lack of self-worth. You'd feel like a bad poker player. You might have to move down to play lower stakes than you want to play. Okay, so imagine that. Imagine the worst case scenario. And then start to take control back and go, even in the worst case scenario, would you be okay? Would you and your family live to see another day? Would your life go on? You probably answer those questions, yes. Then you go, okay, if the worst case scenario happened, what would I do? What are the consequences? What are some of the things I have to do? Would you have to sell the house? Would you legitimately have to sell some of your stuff to pay for bills? What are some of the negative consequences that would have to happen? Think about them and write down an action step. In the worst case scenario, I would do this, this, and this. So what this is doing is it's putting you back in control. Because what often happens is we're fearful of things that we can't see, unknowns. It's almost like when you're a child and you think there's a monster in your bed. It's like, oh, there's a monster in my bed. Oh my God, oh my God. But if you look under the bed, there's no monster. So you've got to almost like get it out, like air out the fear. So you think about the possible negative consequences, it draws a big kind of spotlight on it, and then you can realize, okay, even if things went super bad, really bad, I'd be okay. And that's the realization point you want to go to. You want to go from, oh my God, the world would end, to, you know what? I'd actually be okay. I'd actually be okay. Like, I wouldn't die. My family wouldn't go into bankruptcy. I wouldn't have to do something super extreme. I would be able to take these actions to get me back on track. Generally for poker players, it's move down stakes, study harder, rebuild roll, boom, life goes on, downswing is not the end of the world. So once you've done those things, you're now able to go back in because you've got context of the initial downswing, so it's not any scar tissue, and now you've realized, okay, another downswing could happen, and I'm okay with that. Only once you're okay with the fact you can go on another downswing do you go back in and start playing again. And the reason is you don't want to kid yourself and go, please no downswing, please no downswing, please no downswing, and be terrified of the fact of going in a downswing. Every time you play poker, if you want to win money, you've got to accept the reverse side that I could lose money. If you're not willing to accept on a conscious level, I can lose money every time I play, I could go on another really bad downswing. If you can't accept that, you're not ready to play again. So you've got to go through a process of getting rid of the old scar tissue and acceptance. Acceptance is the key word here. That you can go on in the downswing. And you know what? If you did, you'd handle it. You'd be okay. And I want you to get confidence in yourself. Did you handle the last downswing? You did, because you're still alive. You messaged me to tell me about it. So you survived one downswing. Could you survive another one? Those positive things that you wrote down at the start of the exercise, what are those positives that you took from it? How are you stronger now? If you had another downswing, how would that strengthen you? And the ultimate mindset is, if you can see challenges, see potential downswings, not only as something that you'd be okay with, but that they would actually make you grow. If you had another downswing, it would actually make you even better. Bring it on. Another downswing. Come on, bring it on. I'd handle it. I'd take it on. You don't want to go through it, but if it did, you're fine with it. And once you do that, you're no longer fearful of it, and you can push on, put the volume in, and it no longer cripples you. But right now, when you message me, your point of reference is, don't look at the downswing. Don't look at the downswing. And as a result, it's scary. And it's become this big unknown that you're fearful of. Now, hopefully this video has been useful for any of you guys who are suffering a big downswing and haven't been able to quite come to terms with it yet. Now, if you have any other questions, any other poker problems that you think I could help you with, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll be producing a lot of videos in the coming weeks that I can help you out with on topics of this nature. So thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button before you go so I know to produce more content of this nature. Thanks for watching. Plenty more coming from me very soon.